Okay, what happens when we have an absolute value in an inequality? For example, if we have the absolute value of x is less than 5, what happens there? Absolute value of x is less than 5. Okay, let's think of some examples. Is the absolute value of negative 2 less than 5? What's the absolute value of negative 2? 2. And is that less than 5? Yes. So this would work. Okay, so this is going to be a point on our graph. What about 6? Is the absolute value of 6 less than 5? What's the absolute value of 6? Okay, 6, not less than 5. So that's not going to be a point on our graph. Okay, so we can pick some other things. What about 5? No, not 5. 5, the absolute value of 5 is 5, but it's not less than 5. Okay, so what about 4? Yes, the absolute value of 4 is less than 5. So this is going to be a point on our graph. And basically it's going to be everything up until but not including 5, right? And everything all the way down but not including negative 5. And everything in the middle here. The absolute value of all of these numbers, positive and negative, will be less than 5. What about greater than 5? Okay, we already said the absolute value of 6 is greater than 5. Is the absolute value of 5 greater than 5? No, not greater than. So it's going to be everything bigger than 5, not including 5. All right? And what about things over here on the negative side? What about negative 3? No, the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. That's not bigger than 5. What about negative 6? Yeah, negative 6. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6. 6 is greater than 5. So that does work. Okay, so everything over here that's smaller than negative 5, when we take the absolute value, it's going to be bigger than 5. Okay, and so we have these two differing graphs, depending on whether we're talking about less than or greater than. If it's less than, we're going to end up with something in the middle like this, okay, in between negative 5 and 5. And if it's greater than, we're going to end up with these two opposite poles or opposite infinities, whereas everything past negative 5 and past 5. Okay? So greater than, less than. So let's look at it written down in words. In symbols, sorry. If we have the absolute value of x is less than a number, then x is going to be between the negative and positive version of that number. So in the middle, that's for less than. If the absolute value of x is greater than a number, then either the number x is bigger than that number, or x is smaller than the negative version of that number. Okay, let's work out a problem. We have the absolute value of 2 plus 5L is less than 4. Minus 4 is greater than or equal to 1. So first what we want to do is to get it in one of these two forms, where we have the absolute value on a side by itself. Right now the absolute value has this negative 4 with it. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. So 2 plus 5L, okay, still in absolute values, is greater than or equal to 5. We're going to add 4 to both sides. All right, now we have it in the right format. So we have the absolute value is on a side by itself, okay? And look, we have a greater than or equal to symbol. So we're going to use this one right here, okay? This is what we'll need for our greater than or equal to. This little chart that I've written up right here is a good cheat sheet if you want to take a screen capture of this real quick. It's something that you'll probably use later. Okay, let's go on. We're going to use this one. We're going to say it's either greater than or it's less than the negative. So over here, we're going to split it into two problems. We're going to say either, and basically we're going to copy down exactly what we have, okay, without the absolute values, and then or we're going to copy down exactly what we have except for two changes. The two changes come on the second half, okay? The second half starting here. We're going to flip this sign around, less than, and then the number we're going to make negative, okay? So only these two changes. Let me go ahead and highlight them real quick. These are the two changes here. This one, and then we made this negative. Other than that, we didn't change anything. Okay, now that we have it split into two problems, we can solve it just like we would normally solve an inequality. Excuse me, that's not right. Okay, subtract 2 from both sides, and then L is greater than or equal to 3/5. Okay, or, and then over here, we will have subtract 2 from both sides. L is less than or equal to -7/2. And then you could write these in interval notation. You could graph them on a number line or whatever the directions say.